You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com. Click live stream tab or watch us on your smart television. YouTube, WCEG Network. I am Damita Chatman, your show host of Take a Stand for the next hour, where the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group, we speak life into the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WCEG Talk Radio, at WCEG Network. Last but least, disclaimer, the topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not WCEG Network. Thank you for your commitment and your continued support. Thank you guys for coming on. It's good to see you guys. I'm gonna let you know now that we don't prepare. We just go off the cuff and let everybody feel comfortable. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming. Before we go into the show, we do have some candidates on here that's running. We got 2 more candidates that's coming on this afternoon that's running against Mayor of Fairburn, and we got the person's running against Keisha Waites coming on this afternoon. We have the city council, this Jaceey's running against Councilwoman Gilliard. To just let you know, because we know how sometimes things get out there. We invited her, we sent her an email, we sent her an email. We never heard anything back from her. So the show must go on. Again, thank you. I'm going to start off with the mayor. Give me a 1 minute, and then we'll go with Keisha, and then we'll go with Jaceey. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And so thank you so much for allowing me to come before you this afternoon. I'm Mayor Elizabeth Carr-Hurst. I'm the mayor of the great city of Fairburn, Georgia. I was elected to this post in 2017, started serving in 2018. This is my 14th year in the city of Fairburn. I was a council member for 10 years, and now you're mayor for 4 years. I'm in a runoff election, and God plays a little games on you sometime just to get your attention. And so we have geared up. We're ready to run this runoff, and we're ready to come in victorious on the 30th of November. So with that being said, we're going to talk later about what's going on in Fairburn, what has happened in this race, what should have happened, and we're going to just take it from there. We're going to go off the cuff with this, Damita, today.
Okay, thank you so much. Keisha Waites.
Sure. I am a candidate for Post 3 here in the city of Atlanta, which is a citywide race. I'm running because I have an actual record of public service and actually accomplishing passing legislation and working and being a consensus builder during my tenure at the Georgia State Capitol. In fact, I've worked with many of you in the formation of the city of South Fulton. And so I have a long history of serving the community, as well as just having boots on the ground and doing this work. I do believe, given the challenges that we're facing in the city of Atlanta, this is not the time for on-the-job training. I did not just show up in this election cycle, and certainly I am no stranger. But nonetheless, my opponent and I are both from Atlanta. We both love the city. And I just want to send a distinct message that regardless of who is successful, it is my prayer that we will all come together and collaborate, because we have very serious issues we're facing in the city of Atlanta. And certainly I'm looking forward to the conversation. And I thank you to the host for the opportunity to come on today.
Thank you. Jaceey.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me say thank you to you, Damita, and the owners of WCEG for inviting me here. My name is Jaceey Sebastian, candidate for City of South Fulton District 4, where I like to say the best district in the city of South Fulton. I am no stranger to this community. I'm no stranger to the city of South Fulton. Having been one of the leaders that helped to form the city of South Fulton, I figure now that it's my responsibility at this moment in time to come back and run for city council to help our city get to the next level. We have done a tremendous job in, transitioning the departments and everything over from the county, right? But it's time to get down to some additional hard work. And I believe that right now, of the two candidates, I am the best candidate to help and carry on and do the heavy lifting as we move forward in the city and for District 4.
Thank you, Jaceey. Jaceey, I'm gonna start with you. I know you just came out. You facing the election
Runoff, yes. Mm-hmm.
And your race is starting to get a little nasty. And I know you're the only male candidate. And I know. So tell me, how do you feel about being the male candidate running against all them fine ladies out there in the city?
Well, you know what, Damita, you've been with me for a long time, and we have worked together, and you've seen me in the rooms, you know, working with men and women. Doesn't matter to me. As long as we have the same vision and the same mission, I would hold anybody's hand. I would lift them up, and I'll let them lift me up at the times when I need lifted. I refuse to get into the mud with anyone, whether they're current candidates or past candidates. I'm just not going to do that. This city and this district needs inspiration. You know, I had ice cream with 3 little girls last night and their mother. And the reason why I took them for ice cream last night was because their grandfather sent me a message saying, "Oh, you came to our door and you've been back here. They see you on the street campaigning. And when they heard that you did not win the election outright, they started to cry. All 3 of them started to cry." Right? You know, and so I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." So I decided I was going to take them out for ice cream last night. I had a good time with them and their mom. And so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about inspiring this community, even down to the kiddies. One of the girls, she's only 3.5 years old. Okay, so and the older one is 8 years old. So for me, it's not about all this infighting and bickering and whatever not. We have enough of that. We want to inspire people and do things in the community. And you know, Damita, I've been here working in this community, and I've done stuff just sometimes to make up for the lack that has happened here in our community. And I'll continue to do that moving forward either way.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna come to the Mayor of Fairburn. Mayor Fairburn, I know you got a runoff out there. Have you ever had a runoff in Fairburn before? With the mayor's petition?
No, this is a first timer. And let me tell you why. Betty Hanna, who was the mayor, was here for about 26 years. And then former Mayor Mario Avery ran against her. The charter requires a majority vote and 50 plus 1. And so our charter is preempted by the state legislature. Council members run at large. They get the highest 3 voted, they get in. The mayor's race is totally different. And so, and I know my opponent, I understand, is seeking legal advice concerning this, but it's the Georgia legislature. That's the statute, and we're following the statute like any other city would follow. So this is quite unique for the city of Fairburn. Never in the history has there been a runoff in the city of Fairburn, Georgia. So this is the first time.
Okay. Did we lose Keisha?
It appears that way.
It appears.
It appears. Let me see. Okay. And thank you for that. Your charter is basically something like the city of South Fortune charter. Is that correct?
That is correct. Fairburn really has an antiquated charter. It was first chartered back in 1925. There were some amendments to the charter in 1995 and 1998. But even the charter for 1925 actually preempts the mayor's race to coincide with what the Georgia legislature dictates. And so that's what we're following.
Okay, thank you. Well, Keisha's back. I'm gonna call her former representative. Keisha, you wanna let me ask you, in this race that you're running, it was how many running in that race with you, Keisha?
Including myself, there are a total of 5.
5. Tell me what that race looking like over there? What you bring to the table to that race?
Well, I've been on record. I've said several times that it is my belief that, I think the thing that separates us, given the public safety issues we're having, there is certainly a conversation surrounding affordable housing. There are many seniors right now that are being threatened with spiking taxes, as well as people who go to work and work 40 hours a week and just simply can't even afford to live in the city of Atlanta, including police officers and teachers. Something's wrong with that. And I am simply indicating that given the relationships I had at the state level, given the existing relationships at the federal level, that will be critical and necessary to moving legislation forward. And, the reality is if you are in a turbulent situation, Ms. Chapman, if you find yourself in a storm, I can assure you, you want the pilot to have some seasoning when he's in the air. You want someone to understand what a fiscal note is. You need someone that is able to pick up the phone and call members of the General Assembly, given the conversation surrounding a possible airport takeover. So we're facing very critical and serious issues in Atlanta. And I just believe that it is necessary that we have someone that can hit the ground running day one.
Okay. I'm gonna stay with you, Keisha. I understand, what's going on down there. A year from last year, this time, you could see the change in Atlanta. So how do you see Atlanta in the next 4 years?
Well, people frown upon the G word. Frankly, I don't. I don't think gentrification is a bad thing. I think the challenge is that we have not put policies in place to protect legacy residents and seniors. That is the challenge. You want growth, right? You want communities to be vibrant and thrive. You want to see that. But what you also want to do is make sure that the folks who've invested and raised their families, that they can still be a part of that conversation. So I want to see the city of Atlanta grow. I come out of District 12 where we had huge blight, a number of foreclosed properties. And so my property value has tripled in the last probably 18 months, which is crazy. So my tax bill has quadrupled. So again, myself included, my neighbors, we're all thinking about, hey, what are we going to do? So the reality is, I would like to see policies, and this is something that I've already worked on in the General Assembly when it came. Right now, seniors at the age of 65 pay a reduced tax bill. Many people don't even know that. So we also have to do an educational campaign to get this information now, and we have to expand this to legacy residents who've also been here for a number of years who don't necessarily meet the age requirement.
Okay. Mayor Liz, where do you see Fairburn going the next 4 years, and what can you bring to the table? I know they got a lot of construction out there, and on that, it's over there by, I'm gonna say Oz Pizza. It's amazing. Could you give us a little what you think in the next 4 years?
Actually, I see our growth in the next 4 years leveling off. We've had humongous growth in these last 4 years. What you see downtown is our streetscape, which is a $5.8 million investment downtown that was funded 80% through grants, 20% from the city of Fairburn. We are looking at an interchange out off Highway 74. That interchange is badly needed. We've come in now with Piedmont Urgent Care over on 74, something the city has never had. We've had to go to Fayetteville. We're looking at new homes, single family homes over off Verlin B. Smith, which is right next to the Renaissance Festival, 171 single family homes over there. So we're looking to bring more folks into the city of Fairburn, and we're looking to this growth that we have that is growing so at this particular time, leveling off really in the next 4 to 5 years. Fairburn is landlocked. So all of the land here in the city is already owned. And I'm expecting those owners and developers to come in and want to develop this land. They're not going up north. They're coming down south because of Hartsfield Airport, Jackson Airport, and because they know that they can actually build here in the South Side, and we have the land. but we want positive development here. We just don't want anything coming into our city. And that's one thing that we're fighting now with the development over off Verlin B. Smith. We don't want anything coming here. Just because you can purchase that land doesn't mean that we want it here in our city. And we will fight as much as we possibly can to make sure that undesirable development stays out of the city of Fairburn.
Great, great. Jaceey, if you make this runoff and become the city next councilman, tell me, what would you bring to the table to kind of tone down some of the issues that's taking place on the council? What would you bring to the table?
Well, first of all, again, going back to my history of working, in the cityhood movement and even since, I'm always been the calm head in the room. I just don't get too excited. I don't get too down. I try to really bring common sense and don't take things too personal. Part of the issue is people take things awfully personal. And even though somebody attacks may be personal, sometimes you have to shrug those things off and move on, as long as you're doing the business of the people. Like when we formed the People's Campaign to get this referendum passed. That's why I still have that sign in at the back of me over here, right? Because it's about the people's business. Okay, we in District 4, we are lacking a lot of things out here. District 4, which is the largest geographic district in the city of South Fulton, we do not have a single grocery store, right? And I know people out there saying, oh, these things are pipe dream. Look next door in Fairburn. Look down to across the county as to what is happening in Fayetteville and other areas around us. Why not us, right? District 4 has a lot of unused land, again, so it doesn't mean that we have to go out and we have to put any and everything, as the mayor of Fairburn just said. We need to practice and put in place good policy that's going to help our economic development to be the things that the citizens here want to be. We don't have a decent sit-down restaurant in District 4, right? We always have to be traveling, 30, 40 minutes away from home to have a nice dinner, right? So when I hear people saying these things are just pipe dreams, I'm like, where are these people from? Right? So I just want to get in there and do as the people say. I've been going from door to door, and I've been the one listening to the people and going and knocking on their doors and having conversations with them. So I know what the people have been asking for here. Okay,
great. I'm gonna start back with you, Jaceey. I'm looking at you live down in Cedar Grove area and all that land, and you've been here in the warehouses, which we know that the warehouses is not in the city of South Fulton, but how can you get with the cities that join us and kind of bring some to the table? I would like to see, maybe we can get a mall on on South Fulton Parkway, that we don't have to travel down 75 or up 20 to go to because everybody that's coming from Columbus, Georgia, they got to pass us to get to those shopping centers. So tell me what you would do to work with the other mayors that is connected to your district.
Well, one of the I call it a privilege that I have, having served as chief of staff in the Fulton County Commission, and just having worked in the region, having been the campaign manager for our senator, I've had the opportunity over the years to meet and to collaborate with every single mayor on the south side here, right, including the current great mayor of the city of Fairburn, right? So I have a good chance of, whenever I make a call, right, to get a call back and to have a conversation. And I believe that if you bring folks to the table and that you sit down and that you speak civilly, I think you can agree. Even if some things you disagree on, you may agree, because you cannot tell people what to do in their own cities. You can only hope to partner and do things together that would benefit both their cities and your city. So again, I hope to make those calls on day one to say I'm here, right? And I'm willing to work and partner and see what we can do to work together across the region. This thing is a regional issue. It's not a Fairburn problem. It's not a City of South Fulton problem. It's not a Union City, Chattahoochee Hills, Palmetto, East Point, or College Park problem. It's not a Hateville problem. It's a regional problem that we have to figure out and we have to work together, because when the trucks go to any one of our municipalities, guess what? They have to pass through several others. Okay, so the impacts are on all of us. How can we work together to make sure our citizens are safe? How can we lobby the state to put some money immediately? The president just signed this infrastructure bill. We need to widen South Fulton Parkway to at least 4 lanes on either side to accommodate the logistics program that's now here. It's not going to go away overnight. So how do we make it easier, both for the truckers and obviously easier and safer for our citizens to come in and out of our communities?
Thank you. I'm going to go with Keisha, and then I'm gonna come back to the mayor. Keisha, tell me, we going down to Atlanta, and you go past on the 20, you see such the homeless problem. Tell me, what are you going to do if you get in office to solve that problem? Because right now, anybody that been out in Los Angeles, it looks like another Skid Row just on the freeway. So tell me, what would you do to kind of solve that problem down there, Keisha? Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you so much. So I've been a part of these conversations during the time frame that I actually served in the General Assembly. Many people may remember the name Anita Beatty, who was over the shelter for Bedford and Pine. So there's a couple of components in terms of the homeless community that we have to acknowledge, right? So we have some mental health issues, and when we closed Georgia Regional, one of the largest mental health facilities in the region, that contributed to part of this problem. So a couple of things that I'm suggesting, because I can't do this by myself, which is important that we have folks that are consensus builders and team players. I believe we need to partner with HUD as well as our state partners. We have a number of multi-family units in the city of Atlanta that we can bring back online. These are communities that were condemned due to high water bills and/or foreclosures throughout the city. What I'd like to do is to take some of those resources, bring them back online with some of our nonprofits such as United Way, put some funding back there for people who already do this existing work and to work on trying to house some of these people. The other challenge with these families is that most of the time, the long-term housing plan is about 18 months maximum. After that, there's nowhere to go. So we have an employment component. Oftentimes, there's also a health issue that we have to address as well. So this is a multi-layered dynamic that we're not going to resolve overnight. But we have had some cities that have been very successful in tackling that. And one of the things that they did do is they partnered with our state partners, they sought dollars from HUD, and they brought back a number of multifamily units that were offline. Last quick point, because I can't wait to hear from the mayor. In the city of Atlanta, there were a number of public housing units that we closed decades ago. A lot of people don't know this. Half of those units are still owned by the city of Atlanta. And so we have an obligation to bring these properties back online. We're talking about almost 700 acres of land. So the notion somehow that we can't do affordable housing, it's just not true. Now, I'm not here to criticize the previous administrations or what's been done in the past. I am simply saying, let's build upon the work that we've already started.
All right, okay. All right, Mayor Fairburn, let me ask you a question. All the work that you're doing in Fairburn, and it's a lot of money being poured there. Tell me, what do you see, have the owners been giving back to Fairburn? Because you go down to Oakley, right? 74, Sonora, you go all the way down there. That's a lot of money and a lot of growth. Tell me, what are you getting from those owners giving back to your city?
Well, let me tell you, and that's one of our downfalls here in Fairburn. When you go down Oakley, Bohannon Road, you see Google, Smuckers, Amazon, you see all these big businesses down there. Most of those businesses are not really giving back to the city of Fairburn. And that is something that we are going to have to put in place before they even come into our cities. You know, what are you going to give to the city? They always come in and say, well, we're going to bring X number of folks into the city and hire them. That's going to help your economy. Well, then we find out, we go through the parking lots and look at the tags. We find out that most of these people that's working in these warehouses and quote fulfillment centers don't even live in the city of Fairburn, just a small percentage of them. And so we have to be very strategic when they're coming into our cities to make our demands up front. Because once they get here, it is very hard to get them to agree to be a part of your city. Now, that is something that I have been working with for the last year. I have a great relationship with those companies that's out on Bohannon. They have come in. If we're doing functions in the city, they have contributed to that. As far as sidewalks, that's another major thing. We require them to put in sidewalks. The city cannot, not going to let you put in a 10, 15, $20 million building and the city has to put sidewalks out there for the folks. That's not going to happen. And so we're making demands on these businesses, requiring them to be a part of the city. You just can't come here, give us some tax money and reap the benefits and just leave our city. That tax money is just not enough. We want you to be involved. It's just like a homeowner. If you don't care about your house, to fix it up, to keep it, it's going to go down. And so we have to make these demands and hold them accountable.
And I agree with you. The building, I'm gonna stick with you. The buildings that they're building out there, because I know the warehouses over here, and they're in Union City. I'm gonna use the warehouse off of Stonewall Tail, or not even Stonewall Tail. Let's go to 92 in Camerton, where they didn't cut all the trees down the buffer. And I know you don't have that many warehouses coming up, but the warehouses that you do have coming are up. How do you stress them to keep the buffer, or kind of let it look like it fits your community, just instead of just a big old building?
Well, our design structure, they have to adhere to a certain design structure. As far as trees, the city of Fairburn has what we call a tree bank. You cut down a tree, you're going to pay us to cut that tree down. We don't want you to come back in and put these little seedlings in that's going to take 10 or 15 years to grow up. If you cut down the trees, you're going to give us a certain amount of money for those trees. And we are going to use that money around the city to replenish trees that has died out in our parks and downtown and other areas. But we actually encourage through our planning and zoning and our design phase to make sure that trees are left. You go into subdivision, they cut down all the trees and then they put these little trees in, and it takes years and years for the subdivision to look like really a subdivision. And so that's one of the things that we have in the city right now. And we have right now over $400 and some thousand that's in our tree bank. We won't let anyone come in and tear down a tree, cut down a tree without replenishing that tree or giving us funds for that tree.
Okay, good. Keisha, I'm gonna go to you. Tell me, what are your plans if you get on council, to deal with the overcrowding, the traffic, and all of that going down to and through Atlanta? What do you see, Keisha? And since we just got all that money, the president just signed that bill. So what do you see some of that money going to in Atlanta?
My colleague talked about the need to address some things from a regional perspective. Metro Atlanta has a traffic issue. I don't think it's an Atlanta issue. And so if we don't approach this from a regional standpoint, we'll continue to have the same bottleneck. So there are a couple of things that are happening right now. So there is this conversation going on right now with the Beltline Rail now, which I support, which puts a loop around our city. I also love the idea of light rail. When you visit places like Portland and DC and New York, it's a very, very different dynamic. And people, we've got to have a conversation about why people don't want to ride MARTA. And it's a difficult conversation. And I'm not here to speak ill or negatively of MARTA, but the reality is we have a connectivity issue. If it takes me 2 hours to get somewhere versus hopping in my vehicle for 15, 20 minutes, I'm probably going to take a vehicle. So I don't think people are anti-transit. I think that our transit doesn't have the connectivity necessary, and it's not efficient. And the last piece is that we've got to address our public safety issues. I have a niece and nephew that are two very small children. I'm probably not going to go to a train station to go to a game, given those dynamics, given that we know we're understaffed in terms of police. There's some lighting issues, and unfortunately, there is a disparity. When you go to train stations in the northern part of town, they look nothing like those on the southern part of town. So I think that we've got to collaborate with our partners at MARTA to figure out how we can improve that efficiency, given the millions of dollars that are coming in terms of infrastructure. And then lastly, I think we've got to look at what other cities such as Portland has done, as well as Charlotte, who's kind of jumped ahead of us on this conversation. So we've kind of left behind. When I was a member of the Georgia House of Representatives, I proposed a piece of legislation that would run rail from Chattanooga all the way down to the city of Savannah. This was all paid for with private dollars. That is a game changer in terms of affordable housing, in terms of economic development, just as Atlantic Station has been a game changer, just as the Camp Creek Marketplace has been a game changer. Everyone knows that if you remove Hartsfield-Jackson from the city of Atlanta, Atlanta basically is Birmingham and Charlotte. So again, addressing our infrastructure and transit issues basically is the one thing that separates us, I think, from being that world-class city on the hill.
Okay. Jaceey, tell me, if you become the council, what can you do to help bring economic development to our region, and also about the trash problem that we have here in the city?
Thank you, Damita. In terms of economic development, I've already have persons, major landowners, who have reached out to me and been assuring me that they are looking to put quality development here in District 4, right? Communities that are walkable, right? Anchor stores and additional restaurants that are, walkable community where they become destination spots. We just don't want, again, anything placed anywhere in District 4. We also have a major problem in terms of trash. I'll tell you, we do have it. And I'm not going to say that it's my neighbors or it's the external people. I don't know. But all I know is that even on the campaign trail, when I take random pictures and I go and I look at them, I see trash on the street. Okay. We had worked towards trying to see how we could get one vendor to support our city, right? And with the intention that, yes, we are concerned that there are some smaller suppliers who are here, and we didn't want to put anybody out of work. So again, we tried to put that in place, and where we would have one vendor with subcontractors. That has not worked. People have still complained over and over again about not getting their trash picked up. Since the pandemic has hit, the major supplier who is here have struggled in picking up the trash. It is time for the city of South Fulton, across this 100 square miles of ours, to put our own sanitation program in place and to hire men and women who live in this city, provide them with jobs and insurance, and give them the training, give them the customer service training, so that when they come to collect the garbage off the street, right now, if an automated truck comes by, one of those handled, pick up the garbage and throw it in the back of the truck and things go flying, the driver is not getting out the truck to clean your community. Okay, they are just hired guns. It is time for us to put our program in place, and I would strongly support that. As a matter of fact, I've already done some research and some back of the envelope calculations, right? And I think right now across the city, we as citizens are probably paying almost $15 million, right, to get our trash picked up annually, and we're still not doing a good job, right? And in looking at some of the things, some of the labor that it will cost, some of the equipment that it was going to cost to sort of lease some of these vehicles and to train men and women to service our community, we can do this for less than $10,000. Okay, so again, we have a problem here, and I'm hoping that we can finally buckle down and don't be afraid of this task. It's a big task, but guess what? We have never been afraid of big tasks here. At least I have not, right? So at the end of the day, we need to work together and figure this out. Because with the use of technology and with hiring and training our own sanitation workers, I believe we can be a clean city, and that would also spill over into some of our cities next door. Which, when I go into some of our cities, if you come down South Fulton Parkway through District 4, when you come out of District 4 and you go into Chattahoochee Hills and South Fulton Parkway, it's two different things in terms of the trash and the look. So my intent is that the entire South Fulton Parkway, working with the state, working with Keep South Fulton Beautiful, working with the business community, the neighborhoods and the citizens, right, as well as the government playing its part into cleaning up District 4 and hopefully spreading that across the entire city of South Fulton.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go to the mayor of Fairburn, and I'm gonna ask some tough questions because I call it the street committee, Mayor.
Okay.
The street committee got it that you was a beast over there. You was a bully over there. Matter of fact, you had a young lady, and if you can answer that question without getting into any legal problems, that you was the cause of a young lady dying over there during the COVID. So could you kind of help clean that up? Because the street committee, what I work on, we got everything. So help the street committee out.
That is one of the most untruths out here. I am not a bully. You can look at me. I am an African-American female. And when we exert our authority, then there are some who thinks that we are bullies. It's not like someone else and they are just at the top of their game. They know what they're doing. With us, we get labeled that. I am not a bully. I'm a hard-working mayor that works in the city. I'm full-time and I get paid not even part-time salary. So I'm here every day, 8 to 8 at night. But I believe in people that you pay to do a job, to do their jobs. And it's just that simple with me. Do your job. I worked for the state 25 years. I did my job. Now, this issue that was put out, and we're going to talk about this, Damita, because I'm glad you brought it up about this person. And I can't go into any kind of details because of HIPAA laws. But let me tell you this, that was put out there by, and I'm going to be clear, because at this point, I have nothing to lose by telling the truth.
Right.
A council person put that out there, had a friend who worked for the AJC, who was a hometown boy here in Fairburn, who made it to the AJC to write articles, put that article out there. The person that passed, on March 20th, we closed down City Hall. That's when we found out COVID was in our city. March 20th, we closed it down. This person passed on April the 4th. Did not work in the city, did not work in my department, worked in another department under someone else, was not required to work, was not an essential worker. We followed all of the guidelines. Essential workers came to work, non-essential workers stayed home. And I paid these non-essential workers to stay at home. This person came into the office a couple of times, wanted to come into the office. They had to make this person go home because they just wanted to work. But to tell you the truth, and we're going to put it out here, that was not the case.
Okay.
COVID had nothing to do with nothing. And they put it out there, and there are folks that believe a lie, and they will take it to the furthest extent that they can take it. But I can assure anyone on this radio station today that this person did not die from COVID. That was a lie that was put out there, and it was carried by one of my council people. And I know who it is, and they know I know who it is, but that's okay because a lie will never stand.
Amen. And I'm going to piggyback. I know out here in this field called politics, I always say a lie go all the way around the country and it'll come back down Mississippi and stop back at your door, and it's a lie. So I agree with you with that, and thank you. And I'm going to say this. I know doing the politic thing, I know folks will tell a lie just to get their agenda passed, and that's, you know, it is what it is. That's why I always tell folks, when I know I'm doing right and I done right, when I can sleep good at night and hold my head up, I know it's not a problem. So I want to thank you for answering that question. It was just something I thought about. You probably you didn't know that I was going to ask that, but I knew that was a hot topic because I've heard on other shows, even the street committee saying that you did this. And then I'm going to go back to a commercial that I saw, and I'll talk about it when I have him on. We have him on this afternoon. It was a political ad that ran on the news channel.
Mm-hmm.
And it had people talking about you was a bully and you was this and you was that. What bothered me about that, Mayor, was out of that commercial, why did we have to go and get, and I'm just gonna say it like this, why did we have to go get none but white folks to beat our black folks up? Because one thing about it, you ain't gonna see Kemp, Governor Kemp, or even 45 got a whole lot of us in the back beating up them white folks. So why do we stoop so low in this political game just to get a point over? Because what I'm gonna say is, if you tell one lie, you sure gonna tell another lie. Come here, tell me what you think about that.
Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you who I am. You know, these people that has gone out here and said that I'm a bully, you know, people are afraid of me. These people are folks that cannot control me. It's power. It's power. They have had the power all of these years in the city of Fairburn, and they get a Black woman here who can run this city without a city administrator that we pay $150,000 and you pay me $18,000, and I'm willing to do the work every day for $18,000 a year without a city administrator. So you got these people out here who could not control me. They've come in City Hall. They want this because they've been here 30, 40, 50 years, and we should have this. Well, that's not the way I feel. If Miss Ann has to cut her grass, then you're going to do what you have to do. I don't care how long you've been here. And so they don't want change. They want power. And I'm going to put it out here. And the person that's running against me is willing to give them that power. Wow. Because he works full time at Fulton County. He's not in the city every day. And they have backed him. And they think that that is going to scare me. I am not going to bow down to that. It's not going to work. I was elected to represent the people, all of the people, Black and white. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to bow down to the powers that want to still have control of a city that's 72.5% African American. It is not going to happen under this administration.
I like that. And what I see, and I'm gonna jump with Keisha because she worked under the Capitol. Are they afraid of the Black people moving up, Keisha, or do they want us to? And I'm gonna say this, and I can take the heat. What I've noticed, they want us to stay on that plantation. They got the plantation mentality with us. They want to tell us what to do. Basically, they be the master, we be the slave. Come on, Keisha, tell me what you think.
Well, when you say they, who are you referring to?
I'm talking about the folks who want the power. Okay, let me go and put it out there the way so you understand. You got some good Black folks, you got some low down Black folks. You got some good white folks and you got some low down white folks. But you got some folks out there, you got some white and Black that want us to stay on the plantation. You got some Black folks that's making us a little bit money and their house is a little bit bigger than yours. So they want to think they arrived. Tell us, what have you seen?
Well, I'm having fun. You know, I live for this kind of stuff. So one, I want to jump in because we got about 15 minutes, and so I want to make sure that, you know, we all get our talking points in. But first and foremost, I want to jump in on a previous conversation. Mayor, a lie never tells who tell it, in the words of my granny, number one. Number two, the city of Atlanta has been under African-American leadership, I believe, for 4 decades. So the notion somehow that white people, you know, are the problem regarding affordable housing and the lack of transit and traffic congestion, you know, we all know that that's just simply not true. Does Buckhead and the powers that be and the corporate community yield a level of influence? Absolutely. Because guess what? We got a public safety training facility paid for with private dollars. So we know you can do the things that you desire to do when it comes to will. So here's what I will say. There are people in the region, and I will say the region, that have a vested interest in ensuring that they will continue to eat off the backs of taxpayers, and specifically in the post 3 race, because I'm just going to put it out there. The post 3 race is the swing vote for the all not squad. And the reality is, everybody knows that Keisha's always going to be on the side of the people. I'm always going to check the box when it comes to seniors, when it comes to legacy residents. It hasn't changed. And here's the reality. I believe that the voters have gotten tired of dealing with folks who don't answer phone calls, who live in these ivory towers, and who waste our time. People are tired of bullshit. And I want you to tell them I said it. Tell them I said it. Folks are fed up. And when you look at the mayor's race in the city of Atlanta, we sent some people into retirement, didn't we? And we get ready to send a few more. Hallelujah.
All right. Look, I rest my case because I couldn't have said it no better. Jaceey, tell me what you think about that. You got to come strong, city of South Ford. You can't let them do that to you.
Well, listen, I'll default to these 2 sisters any day because I know them. I've seen them in action when I was at the county, taking on very serious issues for this region. So I'll default to them any day. I'll just agree with Sister Keisha with this. People are tired of the nonsense. People are tired of not having people answer their call and look after the community to which we elect folks for. I put my personal cell phone number on all of my campaign materials. I make phone calls from my personal cell phone. I'm not hiding from anyone. Anyone who wants to find me, they can reach me. I encourage them to save my number. Because when we're going to have a district where we don't see any communication from City Hall, we don't see newsletters, right? We are in the middle of a worldwide catastrophe. And we don't see our representative. When people are out here hungry, losing jobs, right? Needing food and find a way they can get money to pay rent and do these other things. We don't see representation. That's what I'm talking about when I say I agree with Sister Keisha. You have to be there for your community, right? So I just want the people of District 4 and even for the other people who are here, the other cities. If you can't find your representative, if you don't have ready access to the people who are supposed to be charging over your tax dollars, and I say your tax dollars, not theirs, not whoever feel they want to wield power in the back rooms, but over your tax, if you can't find those people, then you need to look to other places for your representation. Okay, and so that's one of the things, again, that I intend to bring to District 4 that we haven't had. Damita, you know that after we passed that referendum, we got 800 plus citizens across the city of South Fulton to have gotten involved, and we wrote these papers and we said, vision what you want your city to look like and where you think your city should go. This is what we talk about when we talk about being involved in your community. It is not a clique. I would work with every and anybody, as long as we're pulling in the same direction. I don't care who you are. You could be Republican, Democrat, Independent, Christian, Jew, sinner, or saint. I will work with you for the benefit of my community.
Absolutely. And doing that cityhood movement, I work with, we work with some great people, all backgrounds, and it was just like a family.
That's correct.
We disagreed, but when we left out, we were all on one accord. That's what I would like to see with all our cities. Let me ask you guys this. How do you feel about these people that's taking money to beat, and I'm gonna use the mayor as an example. I'm gonna use her. How do y'all feel about these people that's taking money from or putting people in these races that don't even live in our city? They know they ain't got no interest, but they're putting them in these races and taking money to tear our elected officials down, people that's running. And then once the race is over, they're going to the next. How do y'all feel about that? Because what I see now is it's all about the dollar. And it's not about if they love the city of South Fulton or Fairburn. It's about who you gonna put in there to control. And they'll go back and they'll have all these people to come and tear the mayor down. And if you take a inventory, half of them folks don't even know mayor. So how do y'all feel about that? And I'm gonna go with Mayor Hurst first on that one.
Well, let me just say this. I'm glad you said that. It's about power, it's about politics, and it's about the money. Power, politics, and money. They don't care. They don't care that I'm a mother that lost a child this year from cancer. They don't care that I care about every employee here in the city of Fairburn. They don't care that I work 12 hours a day to make the city a better place than what it was when I came into it 4 years ago. They don't care. It's about them. And to tear me down, it doesn't matter. They go to the next person. But let me say this to all the listeners out there. I was raised in Montgomery, Alabama. I walked during the civil rights movement. I walked from Selma to Montgomery. It's going to take more than this to take me out.
All right. I hear you. All right, Jaceey, you come on. You got to come behind the mayor.
You know, I have a friend. One of my preacher friends said to me the other day. He said, "Jaceey, you got to stop helping people, brother." Right? And he was just looking at what was happening across the political landscape. And I said to him, you know, he said that in jest. And I said to him, you know, I can't do that. That's not who I am. I've seen this work of politics turn people who are supposedly friends and allies into some of the nastiest human beings that I've come across in my entire life. And if you had told me that 2 years ago, I would have said, Damita, I don't think so. But it's going to take more than that to take me down. As I said, I'm seeing it all. I'm ignoring it all because guess what? If I have the opportunity to help some of those folks again, I will do the very same thing. Because that's what being a human is all about. I'm a father of 3. I'm a husband of 1 wife. I've been married almost 30 years. I am comfortable with that. I'm not looking for a job that's going to pay what it pays to be a city council person because I'm looking for money. Okay. You know, I have a career. I have a long-standing career that I can work in. I make far more, but I care about this community. Yes. I stood at Damita, you know how many of these public meetings I spoke at, encouraging people to form the city of South Fulton. So I feel that sense of responsibility to do that, not for me, not for my family, but do this for the citizens of the city of South Fulton and District 4, right? So I'm not walking away. I haven't tried to sell my house. You know, I hear my incumbent say that my representative that she has tried to sell her house many, many times and something keep blocking her, right? I've never tried to sell my house once because I love this community. I helped to form this city and I'm here to stay and to fight for it until I can't do any fighting anymore. And I know as my Father in heaven is a witness, I'm in here to do this with a pure heart and a pure spirit, and I'm comfortable with that. And whatever the decision of the citizens happen after the 30th of November, tell you what, I'm good with that too. Okay? But if it's to elect me, I tell you, I've already started working, putting certain framework together, because I don't want to show up on December 1st and say what I'm going to do now. I've already had plans in place and frameworks in place that I put together so that we can hit the ground running even before January 1st. So I've been serving here. I've been a willing servant. I've supported many of our local elected officials, both in the city and across the region. I've learned a lot from them, and I'm ready to serve in day one.
All right, thank you. Keisha, we're going to go with you, and you can take that question. We're going to wrap it up. Then we're going to give you a one second closing, and then we're going to go back down the list. Okay, Keisha. You muted, Keisha.
In lieu of time, I'll just go ahead and do my closing. Is that okay with you?
Yes, you.
So
Yes.
one, I want to just simply mention the fact that I had the opportunity to work with Jaceey Sebastian before we formed the city of South Fulton. I think that's telling. You have a lot of people who showed up after the fact. I just find it interesting. But very, very quickly, in the city of Atlanta, there are some of us who have not been good stewards. We know that there is an issue regarding cronyism and nepotism and some level of corruption, even though some folks have no idea how it happened. And so for that reason, you've got our friends in Buckhead who are disgusted and fed up, which the entire city feels that way, but they have not thought about succeeding. But nonetheless, just as I supported the city of South Fulton to determine your own fate, I do believe that the city of Buckhead should make their own decision and have that opportunity to vote on that. But nonetheless, very quickly, my name is Keisha Waites. I am a woman of faith. I'm a woman of integrity. I didn't just show up to this conversation. I actually have a legislative track record of public service and relationships that I can build upon for several decades. I'm asking for your support and your vote. Again, as I said, my opponent is an outstanding, lovely person, and I think she will continue to do that. And it is my hope that we can partner and collaborate. I do believe, given the seriousness of the issues that we're facing in the city of Atlanta, we have to have folks who have relationships and actual policy-making experience to move us forward. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. I'm gonna remind you guys, early voting going to start November the 17th through the 24th. Election is Tuesday the 30th. Jaceey, 1 second.
1 second. I'm ready.
2 seconds.
I'm ready to
Close
serve.
it.
I've had a lot of training. I've been there from day one when the city was formed, right? And I feel that right now I'm the best of the candidate. It's no secret that I supported our current council person. But it's time for someone else to take the mantle and take District 4 forward. District 4 have not seen a lot of benefits out of the cityhood movement, right? It's time for someone to come to the table to not only represent the entire city, but to give District 4 the type of representation that we need and deserve in District 4. So if you visit my website, you can see a lot of my platform, www.jc44.com, and you will see my contact information. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Thank you. Mayor Fairburn.
Hey, well, in closing, just let me say that power, politics, and money has played a big part here in Fairburn in this election. I'm Mayor Elizabeth Carr-Hurst. I have been the mayor of Fairburn for the last 4 years. I have made extremely positive developments here in our city. We have new restaurants downtown, sit-down restaurants, new restaurants over on 74, Piedmont Urgent Care, which is so vitally needed here in our city. I'm about people and the work. It's not about power and politics. And so the next 4 years here in the city of Fairburn, we plan to continue to move the city forward and beyond together. And that includes all segments of the folks that make up the population here in the Fairburn. And I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to be on the show. Today, we got a busy day. We got 3 more shows. I want to thank you guys. What I can say is I personally know the mayor, Jaceey and Keisha, And I'm just going to tell people a lie can go all the way around the world, but the truth will sit at my doorstep. So on November the 17th, when you go to early vote, do your background. Don't follow the money. Follow the right vote, because again, it's who we're going to have in office to represent us. And I'm going to tell you, like the old folks say, everything look like a sheep ain't a sheep. So, and we got a lot of wolves out there. So again, I want to thank all you guys for coming.
Thank you.
You be safe. Again, we wish you well, and we'll see you around.
Okay.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
Thank you much. Thank you, Demita.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Mayor. Thank you, Miss Keisha.
Thank you.
I want to see a penny